Like I told Logan before the show, I am so happy we only have to talk about this team one more time this season.
This is a Sweet 16, Craig. Sweet 16 team, Craig.
Yeah. Illinois loses 79-76 to Penn State for the third time. Illinois just lost to Penn State for the third time in one season. That's like collapse the program levels right there, if you ask me. But that's not going to happen. 79-76. Illinois loses second round of the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, it was like, I don't even care. Why are we here? How are you feeling, Logan?
I'm frustrated. I'm just as frustrated as everybody else. I've tried to stay positive and stay optimistic, but it's just getting harder and harder with each passing game. I've said that this team, I've been one of those people saying that this team was built for March. Here we are in March, and I'm not sure they're built for anything. I don't want to say this was an abysmal basketball game. They have played far worse games against Penn State this year. But this is just not a game Illinois should have lost. And they just made too many stupid mistakes. And I mean, I don't know how much we need to talk about the inner workings of this team anymore. It just wasn't working tonight. For whatever reason, Penn State has the Illini's name. They're the answer. They're the kryptonite, whatever. And now all of a sudden you got a week to prep for what I can hope is an NCAA tournament appearance, but at this point I'm not even sure. So
they're in the tournament.
I think they are too.
They're in the tournament.
I'm not super convinced.
If Wisconsin's on the bubble, Illinois is in the tournament.
No, I trust me. I understand. I know. I've seen the numbers, but I'm not overly convinced. But either way, yes, they're in the tournament. They'll be playing on Thursday or Friday.
Here's the stats. Terrence Shannon led the way, 19 points. Coleman Hawkins, 17. Dain Dainja, 13. No one else in double figures. Matthew Meyer, 8 rebounds. Dain Dainja, 7 rebounds. Shannon with 5. Hawkins with 5. Assists. Terrence had 4 assists. Coleman had 4 assists. Only 7 turnovers as a team. If you only have 7 turnovers, you should win a game. 7 turnovers, you should win a game. Rebounds were 34-32 for Penn State. Penn State shot 52% from the field to Illinois' 45%. 38% from 3 for Penn State, 8 for 21. Illinois went 6 for 21 for 29%. And free throws. Illinois was 63%. Penn State was worse. They were 59%. 13 for 22 for Penn State, 12 for 19 for Illinois. 8 of 21 from 3 for Penn State, and 6 of 9 for, is it Andrew Funk?
Yes.
I think it's Andrew. 6 threes for Andrew Funk. He did not take a shot inside the arc other than 2 free throws. He was 6 for 9 for 20 points. Jalen Pickett only scored 12, went for 41 last time. If you told me before the game that Illinois was going to hold Jalen Pickett to 12 points, I would think Illinois would win the game by 30. But Pickett scores 12. Funk scores 20. Cameron Winter scores 18. Seth Lundy scores 17. Can't figure it out. Cannot figure it out. The game turned on the technical. I know someone already said it in the chat, and I said it when it happened. I said, Dain's going to get teed up here, and then the review took 5 minutes to review it. Illinois lost all the momentum, up by 6, 46-40 after the free throw, 45-40 while the review was taking place. Biggest lead of the game. The review lost every ounce of momentum that Illinois had gained. Penn State came out and I think grabbed like a 47 scored the next 7 and grabbed the lead, and it was over. It was absolutely over. The technical and the review to grant the technical lost Illinois the game.
Yeah, I agree. I know there was people I saw complaining about the call. I had no issues with the call itself, but I agree. It
Oh no,
absolutely.
it was it
It was
needed.
the right call. Yeah,
Yes.
it was the right call. But yeah, you're right. That changed everything. I don't really like putting the blame on an event like that happens so early in the second half. But you're right. I mean, that's the run that Penn State went on immediately following that, because Dain hit the free throw, and then they made their free throws, and then it was lights out from there. I I don't even know what else to add to this. It was just, this team has been a roller coaster all year, and we have addressed that. We've known that. Um, there were so many things that happened tonight that I just felt like were avoidable. Just only 7 turnovers, but I feel like a few of those were pretty crucial. Lazy passes, dribbling too much. Matthew Meyer was trying to do way too much several times in this game. He wasn't very good tonight. 7 and 8. I mean, his numbers are fine, but two of the 7 turnovers belong to Matthew Meyer. Was not his best game. He was -11 and plus minus. I don't know. There's just a lot of things that went wrong here. Again, if this game happened in the middle of the season, it wouldn't bother me. It would bother me, but it wouldn't bother me as much as it does now. It's just the fact that this is the 3rd time to Penn State, a game that Illinois ultimately should have won. It felt like it was a much bigger lead than 3 points. It ended up only being a 3-point game when it's all said and done.
Buzzer beater 3.
Yeah, but that last 30 seconds of the game took 20 minutes, and that's where the difference was. But I don't know. Not a lot of optimism to take here. I
don't think there's a single positive tonight. I was thinking about that before the game. I don't think there's a single positive to take from. There was no effort. There was no defense. There was no anything. No, the most emotion that came out of the team was Dain Dainja headbutting Miles Dredd that got the technical. I mean,
yeah.
For the first time tonight, there are like 4 guys on this team I want back. I get rid of Shannon, get rid of Meyer, get rid of Dain Dainja. I know he scored 12 points and was great tonight. I do not like his game anymore. He is a liability. Give me Sincere Harris, give me Ty Rogers, give me Luke Goody, give me Jaden Epps. Am I missing anybody? Is there anybody else? RJ, I'll take RJ. I don't think he's great, but I think he can be a good role player. Am I missing anybody else?
Well, I don't know, but I think we can have a discussion about roster construction later, because I have a lot of questions about how you build a roster from this point on. But I think that's a conversation for once the season's officially over.
No, I agree. That's just where my head's at.
But no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, yes, you can be. We could say there weren't a lot of positives and everything. Terrence Shannon still put up 19 points tonight. He was 2 for 7 from 3. This team is abysmal 3-point shooting team. They have been all season long. So when Matthew Meyer's not clicking, this team has nothing from distance. But I don't know. I mean, I do think there were some bright spots in the game, but at this point in the season, like, those are moot points. Like, there's nothing you just take from this as a positive. You have 1 game left to prove that you have anything, and hopefully you can do something as a 10 seed or whatever they're going to be, and maybe a 9. But yeah, at this point in the season, there's just not a lot you take from these games. Like, you win them or you don't, and you move on. It
goes back to Penn State once again. The first time around at State Farm Center, in that post game, Brad said that he was searching for leadership. It never came.
No,
it never came. That's today, and the technical that is a time where a leader huddles the team together, said, hey, okay, you're fine. You're celebrating, whatever. Probably should have been called, but we're fine. Go down. Let's get a stop here. Let's get the momentum back. We're fine. And I just feel like every single player, when something goes wrong, they just fold.
Yeah.
They just fold.
The biggest mistake that was made all season long from this team was this construction of the roster.
That was my next point after we talked about this.
We said it last episode, and we've talked about it before. And you don't know those things in the moment. You don't know what your situation is going to be, but the way this roster was constructed, yes, we were trying to be optimistic because I do think style of play wise, I do think there's a case to be made that, this team, we have seen this team play well, and it's certainly possible that they could come out next weekend and win a couple basketball games. It would not shock me if they were to do that, but I don't think it's happening. But regardless, this team it just wasn't constructed very well, and it's unfortunate because in this day and age of basketball, it's going to be very difficult to build a roster the way you really want to build it. Mm-hmm. You can't, it's going to take time. Like right now, I didn't want to get into this conversation, but you're looking at building your roster for next year. You have to replace your 3 best players. I don't care what you think about those players at the moment right now. You have to replace those players. There's nobody on the roster right now who you can slot into one of those 3 spots and expect to be a 15 points per game scorer. Like, it's just not happening. So the roster construction was the biggest Achilles heel for this team, and that will continue to be a problem. And we'll just see how the offseason goes. And I don't want to get into that now, but that's been the issue for this team all season long. There are times where their style of play and their length and athleticism can help you, and we have seen that. And as I said, we could still see that again. I'm not totally ruling that out, but chances are low at this point, and it's just frustrating to see because it just has not worked to the level that I think anybody thought or anybody hoped. But then again, the entire Big Ten sucks. So, you could be Michigan. Would you rather be Michigan? Would you rather be Michigan? So
Iowa. Illinois had a better season than Iowa.
Yeah. Would you rather be? Other than Purdue, like
Purdue and Indiana are the only.
Northwestern had a good year
for Northwestern
standards.
Banner year, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I was going to go next. What you just touched on, I think this so far has been Brad's worst year.
I agree.
From the end of last season, since Illinois lost to Houston last year in the NCAA tournament till now, this has been Brad's worst year. He tried something new. He tried to get away from having a typical prototypical big. He tried to do the switch everything. Everyone's 6'6", 200 pounds. They can play every position. I'm going to roll with 3 freshman guards, really only 1 point guard, and that point guard's going to leave the team. And the coaching. I don't think he's coached very well this season. This has been Brad's worst season so far. And that's, his first 2 years, he was 14 and 18, and his second year, he was 12 and 21, and I thought he did better those 2 years than he did this year. Not saying it's time to come for Underwood's head. I still love him as Illinois coach. I support him fully. I just think he tried to do too much this year, and I hope he learned from it.
I agree with you 100%. I think that we talked about it before, and it's been discussed in other mediums and on Twitter and everything else. I don't know how great of an X's and O coach he is, and I think losing members of the coaching staff last year, it's very obvious. Maybe the loss of Stephen Gentry possibly played into this, but it also helped when the last 3 seasons you've had a couple All-Americans on your team. Yep. And you brought in good players. Terrence Shannon is a good player, and Matthew Meyer is a good player, and Coleman Hawkins can do things, but you don't have All-Americans that can hide some of those things from you. It's easy to win 20 games when you have Kofi Coburn playing in the post. This whole time, all season long up until recently, I always thought I wish we had Kofi, but at the same time, I'm glad we didn't. It was just a different thing. It was a different style. It was, you knew what you were going to get with him. And I thought that having a different roster like this maybe could elevate you, but we're to the point now where no, like that's a stupid thought
Yep.
to even think about. Like I would much rather have him on the team because you're guaranteed, to win 20 games and see what happens. But yeah, the construction and everything else has been an issue, and it
We're
doesn't help with the X's and O's.
We're more than 15 minutes in. I've yet to introduce ourselves. I'm Craig. That is Logan.
I'm Logan.
Thank you for watching. Give us a follow on our social medias on the screen or in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this. And get in the chat. We have quite a few people watching, so get in the chat. We already got a lot in there, so we're going to get to some of those now. I'm just going to run through these for Michael. He's like our most loyal watcher and listener.
Appreciate you, Michael.
Michael says, I won't complain about the refs this time. I thought the refs favored Penn State, if anything, if I'm going to be honest. Too many threes. What was it? 4 of 16, I believe. No, 6 of 21.
6 of 21.
Yeah. Yeah. What did I say last time? Less than 23s, and you might have a chance. And then no NCAA shows. Depends on where they're seated. Depends on where they're seated and what time they play. If they play during the day, no, because we both have day jobs. If they play at night, yeah, we'll do one because that's the last one probably because they're going to lose.
Correct.
On the mark. I found this season to be one of the most unenjoyable Illini seasons in a long time. I also believe this is the most unlikable Illini team in the last 30 years. Thoughts? I had that exact same thought in the second half of the game. My thought was this is my least favorite. And my first thought was the Chester Frazier team that he tweeted out a video clip of that was like the 8 seed in the Big Ten tournament, but they went to it was 2008. It was my senior year in high school. They were the 8 seed in the tournament, but they went to the championship. I mean, there were some bad teams, but there were characters. Even when I was covering the team, there were some bad teams, but Michael Finke, Champaign guy, meant so much to him to play for Illinois. Aaron Jordan, Illinois guy from Chicago, meant so much to play for Illinois. They cared. I'm right there that this team is one of my least favorite Illini teams since my fandom started in like 2001.
So I understand where you're coming from, and the personality thing. I do think there's something to that. I think there's something to it when your two best players are transfers in for 1 year and don't have all that. But I will rebuttal with, as you stated, there were some really bad Illinois basketball teams.
But they cared.
Would you rather a John Gross led team that cared and won 12 games, or a team that was a roller coaster of a season, still won 20 games and made the tournament? Like, honestly, like that's kind of the question I was going to ask you earlier. Like, what would you rather have? Because I understand where you're coming from. The unlikability factor, I get that. But this is still a 20-win basketball team. I mean, we have it like this is now 4 years in a row that this team would have made the tournament. Like, we haven't seen that in 10 plus years. 20. I don't know. When was the last time they made the tournament 4 years in a row? It's been a minute.
They made it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row from 2000 to 2007.
So 2007. And here we are. I mean, add in the COVID year, what year they would have made the tournament. I don't know. I mean, yes, the likability standpoint, for all those reasons you mentioned, yes. But most unlikable team in the last 30 plus years, I don't know. I prefer a team that actually wins basketball games. And they've won basketball games. They've been frustrating, and they haven't been the most fun team to watch. But I would still take this over a John Gross 12-win basketball team that barely gets through, and plays on Wednesday of the Big Ten tournament and all that other crap. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to sit there and rank them, but it wouldn't be at the lowest for me.
Slothy one. This team is no better now than December. That I agree with.
Correct. They were playing their best basketball
agree with.
in December. Yes, I agree.
I haven't read this, so we're reading it live here. My red pillow. Not trying to give Pickett his 4th foul when he had 3 early in the second half is unfathomable by Brad. Have whoever Pickett is guarding drive it to the hole on him every time until he gets his 4th. That's what, and here's my name drop, once episode name drop, group chat was talking about. Why, I forgot who said it, maybe Mason. Why
Shout out Mason.
does Illinois figure something out and it works, and you get a lead, and then they completely stop doing it. I feel like it happens every game.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's where the basketball IQ and stupidity comes in.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Adam, what's up, Adam? Why do we shoot threes all game until the end of the game when we need a three? Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what was going on there.
Need a three. Let's drive to the bucket.
Yeah. Yep, that made no sense.
Again,
that's
stupidity.
The basketball IQ. Yeah, I agree.
I
thought about that myself.
I'm just clicking on random stuff now. I don't have time to proof these.
Yeah.
Red pillow thing, stupidity, inadvertent solo Falcon is about to go on a big run. If that, yeah. But there was another point. I think Illinois had the lead. Let me see if I can
They did come back
quick.
after that run.
Yeah.
That wasn't the end of the game.
50...
I mean, I killed the momentum, but it wasn't the end of the game.
It was tied at 56. Dain hit a free throw, I believe, to give Illinois a 56-55 lead. Yeah, he got an and one. Illinois was down 2. Dain got an and one and made the free throw to give him a 1-point lead. And I told Christy, I was like, there was 8 minutes left. This was just under 8. I said, if Illinois can get it to like 7 or 8, I think it's over. With 7.5 left, I said, if Illinois can get it to 7 or 8, I think it's over. And then I think that might be when Terrence Shannon tried to skip past that got picked off, and then Meyer fouled him on the block. It's like, it just collapsed. It's collapsing.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. It killed it.
I'm not. Here we go. Jay's been in here a couple times. Does it really matter what seed this team is? Team isn't going anywhere. You lose 3 times to a Penn State team in basically a home game. That's what I said at the top of the show. I mean, this Penn State. There's no reason to lose to this Penn State team. There's just not. They were what? Other than Illinois, Penn State won 5 Big Ten games, 6 Big Ten games this season.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason to lose. You can lose 1 of 3 to Penn State. Yeah, they're a tournament team. There's no reason for this Illinois team to lose to Penn State 3 times.
I can't explain it. I mean, the home loss, I was at that home loss, and I think
he's talking about tonight was a home game in Chicago.
I know. No, I'm saying you talk about, you mentioned losing to Penn State 3 times. I said that first game, that was the worst game of basketball I've ever seen. I mean, so that is your home game. I mean, yes, tonight, I understand what he's saying tonight. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll just see what happens on Sunday and with seedings and matchups and everything. I'm not saying this team's going to win, but I don't think I can rule it out because I think they're going to be a dangerous 10 seed or 9 seed, whatever they are. But they could also get blown out of the gym.
Ready for next season? This team just doesn't want to win. It's a poor example for the freshmen. I mean, I'm ready for next season too. I'm ready for the rumor mill of what transfers Illinois is going to get. That's what I'm ready for. The transfer portal hot stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to. Brian, as always, shout out. My head hurts from watching us continue to make dumb decisions. Don't learn from mistakes. Been saying it for weeks. Our 2004 Pinckneyville Panthers, 2008 Pinckneyville Panthers are better at basketball decisions than these Illini. Derek Wade back. Dwayne Wade, Derek Rose, whoever it is. Hope for a 10 seed. I agree. I told Logan that months ago. I'd rather be a 10 than an 8, or I'd rather be an 11 than a 7 or whatever it was. I think he's finally.
I get it. Around. You're right. I get it. I think that's probably what you're looking at now.
Michael, did we really expect more at the beginning of the year? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 100,000,000%. I thought that Brad took the Houston mold that beat him last year in the tournament. The I guess kind of Baylor mold that won a national tournament, even took one of the Baylor players, and it just didn't. Yes, I expected a preseason. I thought Illinois was nearly a lock for the second weekend. I think probably after what loss would it have been? Did that change my expectations? I don't have the schedule up.
There were a lot.
Probably the second Penn State loss. Probably the loss at Penn State is the one that I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the time. I think, yeah, that would probably have to be it.
That was on February 14th. That was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense because they just won at Rutgers and then they lost that game and then they lost at Indiana. Yeah, that makes sense.
But they fought at Indiana. I was encouraged after Indiana, actually. Jay, again, Penn State runs an actual offense. What does Illinois run?
Penn State has a point guard. A really good one. An All-American point guard. Illinois has none.
Bingo.
Illinois' offense is a bunch of wings trying to figure it out. And that doesn't work. I'm sorry. Like, Jaden Epps isn't a point guard, and he barely even played tonight. He hasn't played for the last 3 games because of his concussion. Glad he was there. Glad he's healthy. He's not even a point guard, but that's why. Like that is why Illinois doesn't run an offense, because they don't have somebody to initiate it. That the team's best point guard is Ty Rodgers or Coleman Hawkins, and you can't have Coleman Hawkins running your point because then you don't have a post player. Because Dain Dainja tonight he was a little more useful than he has been because Penn
Dain
State
played well tonight. Yeah,
Penn State has no size, so that was kind of inevitable, I think.
Yeah, Kai, there were times where I want to blame coaching, but Underwood has been consistent over the years. These players haven't. I think that leads into kind of the same conversation here from Michael. I don't think it was construction. It was experience together. Welcome to college basketball. I mean, that's what's going to happen from here on out. There's going to be maybe 4 or 5 players return to a roster, and the other 4 or 5 that are in your rotation are new to the program, and it's going to take time. We did say that preseason. We had high expectations, but we knew that there were going to be losses. Yep. We knew this team was probably going to lose 6 or 7 Big Ten games. I did not expect to lose 10 of the 21. I did not expect to be 11-10 in Big Ten games. But that's just college basketball in this day and age. Laz, 2 words, Chris Beard. If Chris Beard comes to Illinois, I will throw away everything Illinois and never be a fan again. It's not happening. He's going to Ole Miss.
Correct.
This right here from Kai as well. 3 meetings, and we still haven't learned that Funk can make a 3 and still just let Pickett go work on an island. Pickett wasn't as effective tonight, but yeah, the Funk thing. I mean, he's the best 3-point shooter in the Big Ten. They said it in the broadcast. Best in the Big Ten, and you leave him were any of his 3s contested?
Hardly.
Most of them were wide open.
Yeah. He was wide open all night long. I don't know what's going on there, but it wasn't even just him too. The who was it? Seth Lundy.
In the chat here tonight.
Seth Lundy. I think the stat the stat said 15 plus points all 3 times he's played Illinois. So frustrating. Go on.
Brad, Craig, would you want Coleman back? Yes, I would love to have Coleman back, but it's not happening. He's going to the draft. He will get drafted. Unless he can get promised or he thinks he can make more in the NIL, which is a possibility.
I think is possible. I think it's possible,
very possible. But I expect Coleman to go to the draft. This is something we haven't touched on either, other than when I read the stats. Free throw skilled. I think missed 2 or 3 of the front end of 1-and-1s that would have kept it a 1-possession game. So yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Terrence
this
was 3
is
for
a question
5.
for you.
Meyer was 1 for 2. Coleman was 1 for 2.
Our resident bracketologist from Jay. If Illinois does not beat Texas and UCLA early, are they even in the tournament? No. Those are the only 2 quad 1 wins Illinois has.
Correct. I mean
and they'd be 18 and 14 with no quad 1 wins. You're probably not in.
The things that are keeping Illinois above the line in the tournament right now are the fact that they have 20 wins. They have 2 wins against teams that'll be top 2, 3 seeds, and they've been pretty good against quad 2. But no, I don't think if they don't have those wins, maybe if they have one of them, maybe if they would have had one of those and got another one in the Big Ten, you could probably see getting yourselves in. But no, if you lost both those games, 0 chance. 0 chance this team makes the tournament.
Yeah. Brian, again, I think if they just played consistently with intensity, stop bitching at every bad call, and stop making ignorant decisions, I could probably be fine with whatever outcome. That's kind of what I was getting at. Derek Wade, Curbelo would have led this team and fed Dainja in the post and said we went after Sky. I've been saying all year Curbelo would have been great for this team. I think you've been on the same train. Curbelo would have been great.
I know there's a lot of people that would disagree with that, but I know that he was frustrating, but he was a legitimate facilitator. This team just didn't have it. So whatever.
I know I'm throwing a lot of Brian here, but
There's
in the
this. I
group
know you've
chat,
talked about this.
in the group chat, I brought this up months ago, and I got reamed for it. But Brandon Bajimski, shooting travels. The 3-point line's the same at Illinois than it is at Santa Clara. Shooting
I'm sorry.
travels.
He just won co-player of the year in the WCC with Drew Timme. He is a projected lottery pick on a mock draft I just read the other day. Like, I get it. His defense would not play.
Defense would have been bad.
His defense would be a liability in the Big Ten. I understand that. And on this team, he would have struggled to get minutes. But I mean, I have a hard time thinking like what could have been had you had him on your roster this year. I mean, again, I'm not saying like he would have changed everything, but like we're over here talking about Illinois needing an Andrew Funk. Like, good Lord. Apparently you had the best top 15 draft pick on your roster last year. You didn't even know it.
That's a
player of the year with Drew Timme. 6-year All-American. Like, what in the world?
I've been saying this since January that I wish we had Pods back. He's number one. Curbelo's number two. Yeah. On the mark again. Brad needs his own players with his style. It's probably hard to adopt young adults and mold them into your players. Seems like a clash all year. I don't really get this anymore because these are his players. He recruited everyone. So I don't really get I kind of see what you're saying. Excuse me. But he recruited them. He needs to evaluate better then if he doesn't think they're fitting. The Iowa fan, Phil Parker's Paul. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Tough day for both of us. I feel for you. Whose season so far is more of a disappointment, Iowa or Illinois? I think Illinois.
I would say Illinois. I think Illinois was probably projected to be a little better than Iowa. If that's what you're comparing.
Iowa finished better than Illinois in the Big Ten.
If you're comparing, where they were to start the season and projection level, I would probably say Illinois. I think Illinois was projected to be better than Iowa, and they ended up being worse than Iowa. So, I mean, it's close, but I think probably
Iowa was replacing the number 2 overall draft pick, right? Or was he 3? Yeah. I think he was 3. 3. Keegan.
Did you see the thing I tweeted out today? The mock draft on the Ringer. It's probably been up there all season, but I was reading it. I saw that Chris Murray's NBA comp is he's a left-handed. Keegan Murray.
Yeah. Wonder where they got that from.
Great comp.
Yeah. A couple people in the chat agreeing with us. Let's see here. Brad comment from Brandt. Brad did fine this year. It was not his worst year, not even close. We had 0 starters from last year. This roster didn't live up to the hype or potential. I disagree.
The biggest mistake was the roster construction. Like we said it. I don't think this was Brad. I mean, how long has he been here now? He had 2 seasons before the COVID year.
I think this is his 6th year. I kind of compare this to Whitman, Hiron, Lovey. The decision made sense.
Right.
Brad's decision in the offseason made total sense. It just failed. It
just didn't work. Yeah, it just didn't work.
It's just not working. So we'll see if Brad learns and goes back to what he knows.
I'm going to stop saying it. I'm going to stop saying it.
The season's not over. Is that what you're going to say?
It's not over yet. That's all I've said all year.
Second weekend.
That's all I've wanted. That's literally all I've wanted. And we're here writing the season off like it's over already. It's not. It is not over yet. So anyway, go on. We had a lot of comments. This is great. Welcome.
I know we got a lot of comments. A lot of people in here.
Welcome to the chat. I wish we could continue to do
this.
Like
the video.
Please like the video. Subscribe to the page. That'd be awesome. Join us. Follow us on Twitter. Give us a shout out. Tell your friends. We know you're just here waiting around until
we're also
other people
not North Carolina fans. Jason, just think of it this way: North Carolina was a heavy favorite to win the national title this year, and now they're probably
North Carolina.
It could be North Carolina.
That's very true. North Carolina. You could be North Carolina.
I have yet to figure out how to pronounce the Imbrots. I don't know who this is or how to pronounce it. My fandom started in 1950s. Something 1950 something, and I would like to hear why we shot a layup with seconds left when we were down 6. Yeah, they were talking about that on the broadcast.
I don't know. I can't explain that one.
Hummel is still kind of driving the train here, and I don't get it.
I'm driving the train. First off,
okay, Hummel's your co-pilot.
Robbie's riding shotgun.
You and Robbie are tight. Okay.
I mean, I don't feel it's not the only one, man. I feel like I hear it from every national pundit that watches college basketball says this Illinois team is still capable of doing things, and I don't disagree. In fact, I very much do agree. But the optimism is just falling apart. So,
Jason, again, Illinois has only 2 Final Fours since 1952, so it's not like they advance in the tourney much historically. Anyways, why you got to kick us while we're down, man? Jeez. Again,
whatever.
Agreeing with what we've been saying for a year. Agree, 0 basketball IQ.
Yep. 0 basketball IQ and zero leadership.
Here we go. Coach Steve. Buddy, Coach Steve. See what he has to say. When you have one of the oldest teams in the country and one of the youngest teams in the country, this happens. Showing up late, but not having a true point guard showed its ugly head tonight. That's the biggest miss on this roster. I saw someone else tweet it. It was a national writer. I don't know who it was, but they said if Courtney Ramey chooses Illinois instead of Arizona, Illinois is a Final Four team.
I thought about that the other day.
It said he chooses Arizona because Brad wants to make Sky Clark happy and the guards he's bringing in happy. And I don't think Brad will make that decision ever.
Question. All right, here's a hypothetical since we're on the subject.
Okay.
Would you rather have Courtney Ramey and Brandon Pajimski or Sky Clark and Terrence Shannon? Because I think that might have been the 2 doors that were available. And at the time, I would not have said we made the wrong choice. But at this point, I'm wondering if Brad chose the wrong door. I don't know if it actually would have shaken out that way. But I have to think that if those are the 2 doors, we ended up choosing the wrong one.
Here's a fun one from Phil Parker's paw. Do a live call-in so we can get Red Fox Logan to get semi-argumentative and maybe say an F word or 2. Choate would be the easiest to put us over the edge.
Thank you
He's
for
got
calling
his
me
peg.
a Red Fox. I feel like Phil knows this pretty well.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. There's a lot more in here, but I don't know if we want to read them. We're already 40 minutes in here.
There's so much.
All right, so
much to talk
about. We have a week until Illinois plays, until we watch Illinois play. I don't even know what we talk about because there's not a game. We don't know what seed they're going to be. I don't know what to talk about here. I don't know how to close the show.
You read the Logies? No, I'm just kidding.
I read the Logies, yeah. Go read the Logies at Logan
This
Lee.
team is probably a 9 or a 10 seed. No, I don't truly think they're they've fallen off. They haven't been a bubble team nearly all season long, but I look at the Dain's plus minus was -1. I look at the numbers a lot in terms of net ranking, Ken Palm, Torvik, quad wins, quad losses. I had been looking at these numbers for a while, and I have had a hard time totally understanding why Illinois has been on like the 7 or 8 line. It has baffled me for a while. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't think Illinois makes a tournament and that what I look at is right or wrong. But I don't know. I think we're lucky that we're not in that situation. They're going to be a 9, maybe a 10 seed. Hopefully a 10, because you're right. I think the matchup would be better. I think this team is a dangerous 10 seed with the right matchups. But they could also get blown out and ran out of the gym in the first half. This team cannot afford to go down by 20 points in the first half to anybody at this point. They just can't afford to spot teams that much. So we'll just have to see. We'll have a show on Sunday. We'll overanalyze the bracket. We'll overanalyze the matchups. We'll try to figure it out. But still trying to be optimistic here. I think this team still has it, but not much left.
Found a couple more we can talk about. Marshall King, Curbelo would add consistency to this roster? ? I don't think so. And Curbelo can't shoot. It's not consistency. It's just a point guard. It's a point guard to initiate offense, to get the ball off the court.
Facilitator.
Yeah, facilitator. Yeah, he'd probably have 5 turnovers a game, but Terrence Shannon does as well. So, yeah.
I mean, I get it.
So much consistency.
There's a lot of.
It's consistency because he was with Brad for 2. He would be a junior.
Yes.
He would be a junior point guard. So there's consistency there in the fact that he's been here for 3 years. Would have been there for 3 years, but Curbelo's not a consistent point guard by any means. But
we're talking about Lord Voldemort. Did you see his Instagram post, his story the other day?
No, I don't follow him anymore.
He posted a picture of him watching the Purdue game. No, the Illinois-Purdue game.
Illinois-Purdue. Gotcha.
Of Illinois getting blown out in like the first half or whatever. And it was the game. We were getting blown out, and he just had the eyes emoji.
Mm-hmm.
And so a bunch of people, commented how they came back and almost won and whatever. And then he came back, and like his next story was something about how he was just saying that he was watching the game and had nothing to do with the fact that they were getting blown out by 20 points in that moment. But
sure,
that was funny. No, he wouldn't provide consistency. He would just provide somebody that can facilitate and run the offense and not have to rely on Terrence Shannon and other non-playmaking guards to do that. So that's it.
AO, next year, 1 stud transfer scorer and a veteran point guard. I would add a legit big to that as well. I think veteran point guard is option 1. True go get a bucket scorer, option 2, and 3, a big that can come in and do better than Dain Dainja.
Are you really like you're that far out on Dain? I mean,
I think
I'm
he's
not
a good
defending him, but I'm asking because you were very out on him early on in this show. So I'm just seeing where you're truly at on him. Because I personally,
I don't know. I go back and forth.
I'm not out on Dain Dainja. I think that I've said it a lot, and I'll say it again. Dain Dainja is a freshman. I know it says a sophomore on the roster, but he played like 3 games in his quote unquote freshman season. So Dain Dainja is a freshman as far as I am concerned. He is a rather undersized center. He doesn't play great defense, but in the right matchups, he can absolutely dominate. The problem Dain Dainja has had is the drop coverage. We've been playing against, again, you're getting into the Big Ten, which, because they can't play in the NBA, is loaded with good post players. Hunter Dickinson, Zach Edey, Trace Jackson Davis are 3 of the best post players in all of college basketball. The only reason they're not in the NBA is because the NBA is not built for players like them. So he has not figured out exactly how to defend those kind of players. So I'm not out on Dain Dainja. I do agree that they're going to need help because they're going to have to replace your 3 best players. So yes, you need a point guard first and foremost. I could not agree more. And you're going to need somebody that can score the ball. Since we're on the subject, I don't know what the roster construction will look like on this team next year. I think you're going to have too many wings, and I'm not sure if any of them can really score. I love Ty Rodgers, but he is not going to be a scorer. Sincere Harris has shown great things, but he is not a scorer. Maybe you get a resurgence from RJ Melendez in his junior year. You hope you do. And Luke Goody is good to put up some points, but so if you bring in a Terrence Shannon type player as well as a point guard, the math doesn't add up there. So somebody else is going to be out if that's the case, which is fine. It's probably to be expected, but there's too many players there for it to make sense if you're going to keep adding more. But that's just my thought.
I just got a text. Someone wants us to talk about RJ. What do you think RJ's future is?
Is this from RJ Melendez?
No, it's not from RJ.
A month ago, I said he would be the first one gone. he would be the highest on my list of transfers. He has since figured it out.
Get a nice dunk tonight. Very nice dunk tonight.
He's quite literally what I was just talking about. If he can't be a reliable second or third option, I don't know what his role is on this team, because again, you're going to have to find scoring options. So if he can't be one of those, if he can't at least be the third scoring option on this team, I think he has a place. But if he's not going to be reliable enough, if they're going to bring in other guys that are going to be bucket getters, I don't know how he fits, because we know Ty Rodgers is going to play over him, but Ty's not going to score. We know Sincere is going to get his minutes, assuming he sticks around, but he's not going to score. And I love Luke Goody, and he's good to get you some open threes, and he's a jump shooter. But again, I don't know. It's just going to depend on what the construction is around him. I would like for him to stick around. I really hope that I was hoping he would have had a sophomore breakout, but clearly that didn't happen.
Yeah. I think if you're Brad, I think as a fan base, we should want him back to see if this year was a fluke. See if this year was just a one-off, like didn't shoot the ball well, I figured it out in the offseason type of thing. But to that point, you've got Goody, you've got Melendez, you've got Rodgers. Those are 3 wings already. And if you're talking about bringing in a true scoring wing, there's 4.
I didn't even mention Jaden Epps. You kind of throw him into this mix,
but he's a guard. He's a guard. These are wings. You got Sincere at the guard position. You got Sincere, Epps, Dre Gibbs, Lawhorn, Moretti. I believe that's it. So you got 4 guards, 4 wings, Dain, and another big. But if you get a transfer point guard, what point guard doesn't play? So as for RJ, bring him back. I think you give him one more chance. If it's not working after next year, whatever. Or if you're confident you can get the stud wing to replace him, take him and say, thanks, RJ, but we just over-recruited you. But you got to be, for sure. You can't let him walk and then get someone worse than him.
I don't know if it adds up. Doing the math on that roster, I just don't. I don't know. I would love for him to stick around. I would love for him to at least be able to be the third scoring option. But again, looking at what they need, I just don't know if it fits.
All right. I know we've been going a long time, but Marshall here. Underwood said, I think Penn State can go as long and far as they want to. I think tonight was more about them than it was about us. I disagree. I think the defense just let Penn State get whatever they wanted, but neither here or there. Oh, we forgot about Adam Miller too.
Is there anything to
what
the
if Pods, Adam Miller, and Curbelo was on this team?
Is there anything to the theory of Penn State needed this game more than Illinois did? Just asking.
Yeah,
just
probably.
Asking.
Probably.
Go on. Point. What if Pods, Adam Miller, and Curbelo were on this team? In place of who? I mean, it depends. Right. Who's not on the team in that case?
Yeah. All right. More than 50 minutes or close to 50 minutes here. Luckily, it was an early tip, so that was good. We got some time here. But thanks for joining. We had a lot of people in here. Again, we don't know if we're going to do any more post games. We haven't talked about what we would do if it's a noon tip-off on a Thursday. Would we do one when we both got home or what? Haven't talked about that. But this is potentially our last live post-game show. So thank you for everything this year. It went a lot better than I think either of us expected. There were multiple shows here that we had more than 100 people watching, and tonight the chat is outstanding. Sorry if we didn't get to you, but it's just me trying to read here while I'm talking and listening to Logan, so it's tough to get to you all, but thank you so much. Our audience has grown pretty much every week, and we really do appreciate it. If you're still here, like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe if you haven't yet. A lot of our views come from people who are not subscribed, so just hit the subscribe and help us out. Logan still says if we get to 1,000 subscribers, he'll grow his mullet, so we're about halfway there. Anything else, Logan?
No. I'm happy to be here. These have been fun. I'm glad we've done this. I'm glad we were consistent with it. I know that we weren't sure how well this would go, but it's been great, and having the following in the chat has been fantastic. So hopefully we get more of these. We'll definitely have a selection show
Yes.
show on Sunday,
Yep.
regardless of what happens with the games. But yeah,
Yep.
as you said, whatever happens with the rest of after that, who knows? We'll see. But either way, we'll be
Yeah.
here Sunday.
Yep. Sunday after the selection show, probably immediately, because the Oscars are that night and we want to get it done as soon as possible. So we'll go as soon, pretty much right after the bracket is revealed. Join us, get in the chat again. Let us know who you think might make a run, who your sleepers are, and all that good stuff. But you have something else? Looked like you had something else.
No.
Okay. Thanks for joining. That's Logan. I'm Craig. We'll see you Sunday night.